Nativity is an artwork. It's a moving image artwork, and it's the first of its kind. And within this image, the content self-generates perpetually and continuously.
I think the main difference between slow image technology and standard film technology is the fact that we're allowing the computer to randomly generate and choose the images that are put together. It's like an enormous chess game, and it's thinking 500 moves ahead.
This rigid idea of beginning, middle and end in traditional movie making gives way to a continuous cycle, non-predictable cycle. Sometimes it's very desolate and crumbled and ruinous and rather depressing in an interesting way, I think. And other times it sort of births itself into what we would traditionally consider a very beautiful architectural context. In gathering together all the imagery to start making Nativity, certainly the Botticelli Adoration of the Kings was a very significant point of inspiration, the Tondo. It's a beautiful, extraordinary painting. There's so much movement implicit in it, I felt, and this sense always to me of the painter's longing to evoke movement, which of course is what one can freely do in filmmaking, but that it give it an aliveness, a sense of narrative. And also little details of extraordinary little things, connections with people, the monkey, and of course the Virgin at the centre. But architecture is such an important context to it as well, and for me, I was very much drawn to when the artist has obviously used architecture as an interpretation. It's not literal, it doesn't work in a practical sense.
To create the perspectives, as you know from a computer CGI point of view, it automatically gives you perfect perspectives. But as we know from Renaissance paintings, the perspective is all slightly out. So what we asked the computer to do was, after it had put it perfect, we would then just bend everything slightly, and it all came slightly out. One of the reasons we did this, for certain elements, say like a row of columns, we wanted to be able to see more of the faces than you would actually see in reality.
What does become interesting for me about architecture and the spaces of living is this idea of the laws of entropy, of the continual erosion of space, whether it's to do with weather or the making do-ness, or the fact the cloth appears dirty and grubby. And in the Tondo we have that piece of the makeshift wood propping up the stonework. And it's like an ongoing process. You're always having to sweep the leaves from the gutter regularly. Something cracks and gets old, and you're always keeping up the process of being human and being in the world. And then we have this other endless energy of the force of life, constantly unfolding and manifesting itself. And in this, it is surely the human condition to have to negotiate both worlds. And this subject matter and this story and these elements and the architecture all echo that idea, I think.
Saludo.